They laughed when you cried. They smiled when you struggled. They whispered in corners, convinced your story was over. But hear this, what they called your burial was actually your planting. And now is the season of your rising. Chosen one, you were never forgotten. You were hidden, preserved, protected. And now God is raising you up, not in secret, but right in front of the very ones who mocked you. This isn't just a comeback. This is a divine unveiling, a holy revelation. And whether they're ready or not, your rise will be seen. Because you are not ordinary. You were never meant to blend in. And deep down, you've always known that. Since childhood, the way people looked at you, the way you felt different, even in a crowded room, wasn't your imagination. It was divine marking, spiritual separation. You were chosen. But let's be honest, being chosen hasn't always felt like a gift. There were seasons it felt more like a curse. The betrayal, the abandonment, the loneliness. It felt too heavy, didn't it? Like the calling on your life came with a price far too high. You gave love freely and received daggers in return. You shared your dreams and they laughed. You walked in purity and they twisted your truth. But listen to me now. Every tear you cried was seen, every silent scream, every long night where you wrestled with God asking, "Why me?" Those moments were not wasted. They were counted. They were documented in heaven. And now they are about to be redeemed. Fully, publicly, powerfully. Because heaven is a witness. God never left you. He was always watching. Not as a distant observer, but as a father, keeping record of every injustice you faced. And now, in the presence of your enemies, He is preparing a table. Not behind a curtain, not in the shadows, but right in front of them. They will see you rise. They will see you glow. They will watch your name be spoken with honor. They will witness doors open for you that no man can shut. And they won't be able to stop it. Because this isn't your doing, it's His. It's God proving a point. Because for too long they mistook your silence for weakness. They thought because you walked away, you had lost. They didn't understand that walking away was an act of spiritual strength. It was God pulling you back so He could realign your path, so He could speak directly to your soul, away from the noise. It wasn't a loss, it was preparation. And now that preparation is bearing fruit. The very people who said you'd never make it, the ones who smiled as you struggled, will now have no choice but to acknowledge what God is doing in your life. This isn't about revenge. This is about revelation. A holy revealing of who you truly are, a reflection of the glory that's always been inside you. You've always carried light, but the pain tried to dim it. The rejection tried to bury it, but that light is unkillable. Because it wasn't given to you by man, it was gifted by God. And when God gives something, no force in hell can take it away. That's why you didn't break. That's why even when you were at your lowest, something in you refused to quit. You wanted to. You felt like giving up. But heaven wouldn't let you. Your spirit wouldn't die. Because you were marked for something greater. And now you're about to see why. It's your glow-up season. Not just physically, not just financially, but spiritually. Your essence is changing. Your aura is expanding. People who once overlooked you will be drawn to you. People who mocked you will be silent in your presence. Not because you've become arrogant, but because they'll recognize what they failed to see before. It wasn't you they rejected, it was the divine inside of you. And that divine light is now bursting forth. Uncontainable, undeniable. It's going to speak louder than any rumor ever did. It's going to shine brighter than any lie that was told. Because God doesn't need to argue with those who tried to destroy you. He answers them by exalting you. You don't need revenge. You don't even need apologies. What you need is to stay aligned, stay surrendered, stay obedient. Because as long as you keep your heart clean, heaven will continue to open doors no man can close. This is a season of divine vindication, a supernatural reversal, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. where those who laughed will now look on in awe, where those who cursed your name will witness God elevate it. And I know there's still pain in your chest. There are wounds that haven't fully healed. There are moments you still replay in your mind, trying to make sense of it all. But you don't have to figure it out anymore. You just have to keep walking, keep trusting, keep knowing that the story isn't over and that the author is now flipping the page to the part where you rise. No more hiding, no more playing small, no more shrinking to make others comfortable. You've been kept in the shadows long enough, not because you weren't worthy, but because your time hadn't come. But now, it has. God is saying, arise, shine, for your light has come and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. This glory isn't quiet, it isn't subtle, it's powerful, it's prophetic, and it's about to silence every voice that tried to curse you. You are not here by accident. You didn't survive by luck. You were sustained for this very moment, to be raised up in front of those who said you'd never make it, to be honored in the eyes of those who tried to humiliate you, to walk with your head high, not in pride, but in purpose. And as you rise, don't even look back for validation. Let your presence speak for itself. Let your glow speak volumes. Let the fruit of your life declare what your mouth no longer needs to explain. This is the shift. This is the breakthrough. This is the moment your life changes, because God is not raising you up in private. He's doing it publicly, for His glory, for your vindication, and for the awakening of everyone who ever doubted what He placed inside of you. And so we begin. They thought they buried you. They thought they ended your story. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, was that you were a seed, and the deeper you were pushed into the dark, the stronger your roots grew. Chosen one, what you went through wasn't to destroy you, it was to prepare you. Every attack was a setup. Every betrayal was a pruning. Every closed door was God's redirection. You didn't die, you evolved. And now, the ones who mocked your downfall are about to witness the most radiant version of you emerge. Not by force, not by vengeance, but by the quiet, mighty hand of God raising you up in plain sight. You've fought battles people know nothing about. You've cried tears that no one saw. You've walked through spiritual deserts where it felt like even God was silent. But even in that silence, He was working. He was shaping your character. He was carving out your anointing. He was teaching you how to carry the weight of the glory that's now coming upon you. Because the glory doesn't fall on the unprepared. The crown doesn't rest on the untested. And you, beloved, have been tested in the fire, and you did not burn. You've been through storms that should have drowned you. You've walked through rejection that should have left you bitter. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still believing. And that in itself is a testament to your divine resilience. There were nights you laid on your bed staring at the ceiling, asking, God, why me? You questioned the weight of the calling. You questioned why the people you loved turned into enemies. You questioned how those you helped could be the same ones who tried to ruin your name, and yet through it all, you never lost your faith. It wavered, yes, but it never died. And that's why heaven has chosen now as your rising season, because the time has come for the tables to turn, and not in silence, not behind the scenes, but in front of every eye that once watched you fall. They will see that it was never your power that kept you, but God's. That's what makes your rise so undeniable. It's not natural, it's supernatural. Some of the people who counted you out are about to need you. Some of the ones who called you too much, too spiritual, too different, are about to seek your wisdom. You were ahead of your time, you were misunderstood, but now the time has caught up to you, and suddenly everything that made you odd will be seen as divine. You carried burdens in silence so others could smile. You lowered your light so they could shine, but no more. No more shrinking, no more hiding, no more apologizing for who you are. God is amplifying your presence. Heaven is illuminating your path. And as He raises you, no one can stop it. Not witches, not gossipers, not fake friends, not even your own past. You were rejected so that you could be redirected into your real purpose. Because if they had accepted you, you might have stayed small. If they had celebrated you, you might have settled. But God used the rejection as a tool. He used the pain as a compass. And now you're stepping into everything they said you'd never have. You were never weak. You were chosen. And with that calling comes a cost. You had to learn how to walk alone, how to pray with a broken heart, how to worship when nothing made sense. And you did. You showed up. Even when the tears fell, even when the world mocked you, even when people slandered your name, you didn't quit. Heaven saw it all. Every sacrifice, every silent act of obedience, every time you chose righteousness over retaliation. And now it's payback time, but God's kind of payback. The kind where He honors you so deeply that no words are needed. The kind where He blesses you so publicly that even your enemies can't deny your favor. The tables are turning, chosen one. The atmosphere is shifting. The people who looked down on you are about to look up in wonder. Not because you sought revenge, but because God is showing them who He's been raising in the background. You've been in the wilderness, yes, but even in the wilderness you were growing. You were learning how to hear God without noise, how to discern spirits, how to separate real from fake. You were trained in private for the victory that's now going to unfold in public. And the funny thing is, they thought you were weak. They thought you had no power, but what they didn't see was the warrior in the spirit you became. You learned how to fight with prayer. You learned how to speak life into dead places. You learned how to stand when the ground beneath you was shaking. And now that same spiritual strength is about to be clothed in physical manifestations. Yes, your time is here. The doors are opening. The blessings are arriving. The light is shining, not just for you to be seen, but for God to be glorified. And you must understand this. The rise that's coming won't make sense to your enemies. It will confuse them, because they saw your pain, but they didn't see your prayers. They saw your losses, but they didn't see your loyalty. They saw the outer struggle, but never recognized the inner strength God was building. And now they'll wonder how, but they won't find the answer, because it's not in your power, it's in your positioning, it's in your surrender, it's in your obedience. Don't you dare doubt this moment. Don't let fear whisper lies in your ear. You've already paid the price. You've already walked the valley. Now it's time to take your place on the mountain. This elevation isn't about pride, it's about purpose. God is raising you not just to prove a point to your enemies, but to fulfill a promise to you, a promise that He made long ago, that no weapon formed against you would prosper, that those who rise up against you would fall, that you would be the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. And that promise is manifesting now. Keep your heart pure, keep your eyes forward, because what's coming is not small, it's not simple, it's supernatural. And it's going to silence every false voice that tried to diminish you. They mocked you, yes, but they will witness your rise. And when they see what God is doing, they won't be able to deny it. They won't be able to explain it. All they'll be able to do is watch as the glory of God raises you up right in front of them. God is about to reveal justice, and not the kind of justice the world gives. Temporary, flawed, delayed. No, this is divine justice, holy justice. The kind that flips the story in a way that makes people gasp. The kind where what they meant for evil is turned into your elevation. The kind where the pit they dug for you becomes the very ground that lifts you higher. Chosen one, this is where the great reversal begins. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. The rejected will be honored. The outcast will be crowned. The forgotten will be remembered. And you are the walking proof of this prophetic turnaround. You didn't need to scream. You didn't need to expose anyone. You didn't need to defend yourself. You stayed still and let God fight for you. And now He's about to reward that obedience. He's about to show the world what happens when someone stays faithful in the fire. Because while they were busy mocking you, God was making you. While they were gossiping, God was grooming you. While they were plotting your downfall, heaven was plotting your ascension. And that contrast, that sudden holy shift, it's what's about to shock everyone who misjudged you. They thought they had you figured out. They labeled you based on one season of your life. They laughed when you were low, never realizing it was a test of your patience, your character, your humility, and you passed. You didn't just survive, you matured. You evolved. You let God strip the false from you so he could raise the real version of you. And now he's about to introduce that version to the world. This is what divine justice looks like, not a loud courtroom, but a silent rising, not a loud argument, but undeniable favor, not a fight for attention, but the kind of glow that demands it. You've been hidden for long enough, covered for protection, overshadowed to be refined. But the time has come for heaven's light to shine on you so brightly, no one can ignore what's happening, not even your enemies. And here's the beauty of it. You don't even need them to acknowledge you. The healing is already happening. The wounds are closing. The pain is turning into power. And slowly the bitterness is being washed away by grace. Because you know now it was never about them. It was about you, about your development, about your destiny. So when they look at you now, rising, glowing, walking in peace, they won't just see success. They'll see God. They'll see the fruit of endurance. They'll see the power of a life built on spiritual truth. And I need you to feel this in your spirit. God is not just restoring what was lost. He's adding interest. He's multiplying what was taken. The years they mocked you, he's redeeming them with sudden blessings. The times they laughed, he's replacing them with divine laughter that comes from joy unspeakable. Don't look back to prove a point. Look ahead to fulfill your promise. This is your season of restoration, your time of divine compensation, and it will be loud, not in volume, but in impact. Your glow will say what your words never could. Your peace will confuse those who tried to destroy it. Your elevation will preach a sermon that no pulpit could hold. They mocked the wrong one, because when they mocked you, they mocked the God who called you, and that's not a battle they can win. But this isn't about revenge. This isn't about making them feel what you felt. No, this is about healing, about becoming whole, about walking in such divine confidence that nothing they do or say can shake you ever again. This is your moment to breathe again, to smile again, to live without fear, to walk into rooms without shrinking, to dream again without apologizing for the size of those dreams. Chosen one, you are stepping into the fulfillment of promises made in secret. You are about to see the vision you held on to through tears finally manifest. This is not fantasy, this is prophecy being fulfilled, and it's happening now. There's a new oil on you, a new clarity, a deeper wisdom. You don't even see the world the same anymore. You've outgrown petty battles. You've let go of the need for applause. You're no longer moved by attention. You're grounded in purpose. And that's what terrifies your enemies the most, because they know now they can't distract you anymore. And while they were laughing, God was aligning. He was aligning your name with favor, aligning your path with destiny, aligning your connections with divine appointments. He was separating you from the counterfeit to make room for the real. And now, here it comes, like a flood, like a wave, like a sudden sunrise that pierces through years of night. Don't hold back now. Don't let the old voices keep you from walking boldly into your new season. They don't know what you know. They didn't see what you saw in the spirit. They didn't hear the promises God whispered to you in the dark. But they're about to witness those promises come to pass, and not in theory, in real, tangible ways. Doors will open that you didn't knock on. Opportunities will find you. People will seek you out. Favor will follow you like a shadow, and it will all be undeniable. This is your moment to rise, not in arrogance, but in anointing. To rise not just for yourself, but for every soul connected to your obedience. There are lives that will change because you didn't quit. There are destinies that will unlock because you stayed faithful. There are generations that will be blessed because you decided to keep walking, even when it hurt. You're not rising for revenge. You're rising for purpose, for testimony, for impact. And yes, God will make sure it happens right in front of those who mocked you, but not to shame them, to show them that He chooses whom He chooses. And when God places His hand on someone, no amount of ridicule can remove it. So keep your eyes lifted, keep your heart open, and don't look down, not even to check if they're watching, because they are. And now they will see what happens when someone is chosen, crushed, and called, then crowned by God Himself. Why were you attacked the way you were? Why did it seem like no matter how pure your intentions, the people closest to you turned against you? Why did your presence irritate the room even when you said nothing at all? The truth is deeper than what meets the eye, chosen one. It wasn't about what you did, it was about what you carry. You carry a frequency, a spiritual vibration, a divine presence that threatens the comfort zones of those who refuse to evolve. It's not your fault. They sense the weight of your calling, even when they don't understand it. Your light exposes what's hidden in them. Your truth stirs their denial. Your existence reminds them of what they're running from. And so they lash out, they mock, they project, they gossip. But not because you're wrong, because you're real. And in a world drowning in performance and pretense, authenticity feels like confrontation. So you became their mirror, and when they saw themselves through you, it was too much. They called you strange. They called you dramatic, too intense, too deep, but really you were just awake. You saw through the illusion while they clung to it. You asked questions they were too afraid to voice. You challenged what they blindly accepted, and instead of leaning in to learn, they chose to push you away. It's the paradox of the anointed. The more awake you become, the more asleep the world around you seems. And the more truth you carry, the more resistance you attract. That's why the attacks were so personal. That's why the betrayal felt surgical, because the enemy wasn't trying to just wound your life. He was trying to assassinate your identity. But what he didn't calculate was your resilience. He didn't foresee that every hit would refine you, that every loss would deepen your wisdom, that every time you were mocked, heaven would draw nearer. You've been walking through what felt like fire, but what was really divine alchemy, transforming your pain into power. And now here's the divine irony. The very things they used to mock you for are becoming the reasons they can no longer ignore you. That deep empathy they saw as weakness, it's now becoming your strength in leadership. That spiritual insight they labeled too much, it's now guiding others to healing. That sensitivity they tried to shame you for, it's now becoming your superpower, your gift of discernment, your radar in the spirit. Everything they rejected in you is now being reclaimed as sacred. But why were you chosen for this? Why were you called out from among many? Why did you carry the weight that others ran from? Because your soul was crafted for divine mission. You weren't built for average. Your DNA is laced with prophetic fire. Your mind is wired for higher realms. Your heart beats with heaven's rhythm. Even in your childhood, you sensed things before they happened. You felt the emotions of others like they were your own. You dreamed dreams that later came to pass. And for so long, you thought something was wrong with you. But now you know, nothing was wrong. Everything was divine. You were chosen not just to survive the chaos, but to rise from it and become a lighthouse for others still lost in the storm. That's why the battles you faced weren't random. They were targeted, strategic, calculated to try to break your spirit before you fully stepped into your purpose. But your spirit couldn't be broken. Even when you were down, you were not out. Even when your heart was shattered, you never stopped loving. Even when your name was dragged, your character remained intact. That's why the favor on your life is unshakable. That's why heaven is moving now, because God has seen enough. He's seen how they mishandled you. He's seen how they used your loyalty against you. He's seen how they tried to dim your light so theirs could shine brighter, and now he's saying, enough. This is where the reversal begins, not just a personal shift, but a spiritual one. The same people who mocked your tears will now witness your triumph. And they won't understand it. They'll try to rationalize it. They'll say it was luck, timing, coincidence. But deep down, they'll know this is the hand of God. They'll see you stepping into rooms you were once locked out of. They'll hear your name mentioned in places where it was once silenced. They'll watch as everything they tried to block flows to you effortlessly. And here's what you must remember. Don't let their confusion pull you out of alignment. You are not responsible for helping them understand what God is doing in your life. Your only responsibility is to remain obedient, humble, aligned. Because the higher God raises you, the quieter you'll need to become, not to shrink, but to stay tuned in. Because this next level won't require your explanations, it will require your elevation. And yes, there will be more eyes on you now, more watchers, some cheering, some silently hoping you fall, but none of them can change the outcome. Because your success was never theirs to approve. God approved it, heaven stamped it, and now it is manifesting. You are walking into a season where the paradoxes will become power. The one they overlooked will now be overbooked. The one they left out will now be lifted up. The one they laughed at will now lead. So embrace the paradox. Embrace the confusion it causes in others. It's not your job to make sense to people who only knew the unhealed version of you. Let them wrestle with the transformation. Let them sit in the tension of who you were and who you are now becoming. Because that's what elevation does. It causes friction in small-minded circles. But you weren't born for circles. You were born for spheres, for influence, for global impact. And the moment you truly embrace that, everything shifts. You've been misunderstood, misquoted, misrepresented, but none of that can stop the divine mission on your life. They tried to minimize you because they could sense your magnitude. They tried to ridicule you because they couldn't replicate you. They mocked you because they couldn't manage the mystery that surrounds you. But now that mystery is about to become ministry. And not because you fought back, not because you proved them wrong, but because you stayed the course. You let your spirit remain uncorrupted, and heaven is about to reward that in ways that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. This is your moment, your rising, your unveiling, and it's all happening exactly how it was always meant to, right in front of those who mocked you. You've walked through the wilderness with no map, just faith. You've been laughed at, lied on, and left behind, but even when you didn't feel strong, you kept moving. Even when you felt forgotten, heaven remembered. And now, chosen one, you are standing on the edge of a divine unveiling. The moment is here, not next year, not one day. Now, your rise has already begun. You are the one they said would never make it, the one they counted out, the one they tried to destroy quietly, hoping no one would notice. But God noticed. And while they whispered their doubts, He was writing a new chapter. One where your name is honored, your influence multiplied, and your past no longer held against you. This is your time, not just to shine, but to heal, to reclaim the parts of yourself you buried for survival, to walk with your head high, not in ego, but in certainty. Because you finally understand who you are, a chosen one, set apart, built different, not made for average, but forged for impact. Everything you went through served a divine purpose. The delays, they strengthened your patience. The betrayal, it deepened your discernment. The isolation, it developed your intimacy with God. Every setback was a setup for this moment of undeniable supernatural elevation. And here's what you need to let sink in. You're not rising in spite of them. You're rising in front of them. And that detail is deliberate. God could have raised you privately. He could have vindicated you silently, but He didn't. Why? Because the table isn't just for your celebration, it's for their revelation. So they will know this was the hand of God. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them wrestle with the version of you they never saw coming. You don't need to explain anything anymore. You don't need to revisit the old rooms to prove your growth. You don't owe them your peace, your access, or your energy. What you owe is your obedience to the calling, your surrender to the divine path ahead, because the spotlight is not the destination, it's just the beginning. What comes next will require more of you, more courage, more clarity, more character, and you have all three, because your pain built them in you, your past shaped you, but it no longer defines you. The shame they tried to put on you has no place in your future. You've shed that skin. You've outgrown that cage. You're walking in authority now. And let me speak this over you clearly. You are safe to rise. You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are right on time. And everything that's about to happen has been divinely orchestrated down to the moment. The right people are being drawn to you. The right doors are being prepared. The favor that's coming will feel almost surreal, but it's real because it's heaven sent. You no longer need to hustle to be seen. You no longer need to strive to be accepted. You already are accepted by the one who matters most, and he is the one lifting you now, the one exalting you in the presence of your enemies, not because you earned it, but because you endured. And in your endurance, you proved faithful, humble, ready. This is more than a season of blessings. It's a season of restoration, of divine reversal, of full circle justice. And all of it is happening right before their eyes. Not to shame them, but to awaken them. Your story will speak even when your mouth is silent. Your light will preach sermons your critics can't refute, because your life is now the message. So don't go back to explain. Go forward to expand. Don't look back for applause. Look ahead for assignment, and don't reduce your radiance to ease their discomfort. You were made to shine, made to lead, made to rise. You are no longer hidden, no longer waiting, no longer shrinking to fit inside systems you've outgrown. You are stepping into fullness, wholeness, kingdom visibility, and the heavens are rejoicing. Because the one who walked through the valley in silence is now ascending the mountain in glory. Chosen one, you are the living fulfillment of God's promise, the proof that what was meant to destroy you became the fire that purified you. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. You're not just recovering, you're reigning. And every time they look at you now, they won't just see you, they'll see the God who raised you. Let that truth settle in your bones. God is raising you up right in front of those who mocked you. So breathe deep, let go of the past, and walk boldly into the future that was already written for you. You are in the palm of divine hands, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what God is doing in your life now. Walk with power, walk with peace, walk with purpose, and never forget who you are. You are chosen, you are covered, you are called. And now you are crowned. Amen.